Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Monday, it's the 23rd of September 2019, and you are watching The Real Wheel. My name's Adam, I'm going to be spinning for you for the next 45 minutes. So let's get the wheel in motion, and let us get our 45-minute timer on the way. We're spinning from the day's date, number 23. Hopefully this is a good spin for all of you. So here at The Real Wheel, we do real live roulette spins. Real European roulette wheel, single zero, American sized. So it's not a French wheel, it's a European wheel. There's a little bit of a difference. Now, the time is currently 4 minutes past 2 here in the United Kingdom, and we are absolutely live. And the first result of the week is Black 29. So I can tell you 29 is black and odd. You can find it in the third dozen, between 19 and 36. It's in the second column, and it's in the voisin section of the wheel. It's black 29. There's the first result of the week. Let's get rid of it. And that's how we roll. A spin every 40 seconds or so here at The Real Wheel. Sometimes a little bit shorter, sometimes a little bit longer. Now in the bottom left hand corner of your screen you can see the latest results. We've got 29 there on the marquee. That is going to be nudged one across, and 3 is going in its place. So red number 3 is the next result. 3, it's red, it's odd, it's low. In the third column in the first dozen, and part of the voisin section of the wheel once more, we are in red number 3. And now that the result confirmation has gone, I respin. And we do that for 45 minutes, so you get to see a plethora of spins. You get to see a whole multitude of spins. So we'll start with 29, then we'll go to 3. I don't know where we're going to go next, but we'll keep on adding and adding until we've hopefully got full completion. And the next result, right next door to 3, is black 35. So 35, it's black and odd in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the second column, and in the voisin section once more. So 3 spins back to back in the voisin section. But it's time to move on from 35 to our next number. Now this wheel is absolutely live. I'm spinning it with my own hands. It's not cutting to some other feed elsewhere. I am doing the spins myself. And that result is 33. So 33, it's black and odd in the third dozen once more, still between 19 and 36. We're back in the third column, and this time we're in the tiers section of the wheel, so tiers de cylindre for black 33. But it's time to get rid of it and replace it with a brand new number. So I hope you're all fit and well here on this Monday afternoon. It's been a long day for me so far, and it's very muggy today. It's not as warm, but it's very close today. And our first reoccurring number of the day is red number 3, hot number. 3 is red and odd in the first dozen, between 1 and 18 in the third column once more, and we're back in the voisin section of the wheel. It's red number 3. Moving on from red number 3 to our next number. Where are we going this time? There's around about a 4 to 5 second delay with the spins, so I spin them and then about 4 seconds later you see it happen on your screens. That's just YouTube's delay. If I could make it live, I would. Let's confirm red number 1. 1, it's red and odd in the first dozen. Between 1 and 18, it's in the first column, and it's in the Orphaland section of the wheel. It's red number 1. Confirmation of 1 has disappeared off your screens. Let's go for a brand new spin. And we spun from red number 1, and we're getting our next results in a matter of seconds. Already we have done 6 spins. We can see 3 red and 3 black numbers. All the black numbers have been high, and all the red numbers have been low. Only 1 number in the first column as well so far. And another number in the first column is sweet 16. So 16, it's red and even, between 1 and 18 in the second dozen. It's in the first column, and it's in the tiers section of the wheel, so our second jaunt into the tiers section with sweet 16. Moving on from 16 red to our next number. And that result is number 30. 30. 30, it's red and even in the third dozen, between 19 and 36. It's in the third column, and it's in the tiers section of the wheel. It's red number 30. Let's get rid of 30 and get another number on the way. So we spun from 30 red, that was our 8th result, and as you can see the marquee is getting more and more populated. As the session goes on, that marquee will fill up, and then it'll be replaced by a brand new set of numbers, and that will keep on going for the next 40 minutes. And we're in black 15. So 15, it's black and odd in the second dozen, between 1 and 18 in the third column, and it's in the voisin section of the wheel. It's black 15. Confirmation of 15 has disappeared, so it's time to respin from 15 black. And the result, my favourite number, 27. Alright, 27 is your latest result. It's red and odd in the third dozen, between 19 and 36. It's in the third column, and it's in the TS section of the wheel. It's red 27. Confirmation has disappeared off your screens, so it's time to spin from red 27. Nice long spin this time, as we go for our 11th spin together of the week. Now this session will carry on all the way through till Friday, so we'll probably get a few hundred spins at the very least in this session. And from 27 we're moving up one in the world to black 28. 28 is confirmed on your screens, and I can tell you it's black and even in the third dozen once more, still between 19 and 36. This time we're in the first column and we're in the voisin section of the wheel. It's black 28. Time to get rid of it and get another number on the way. And from 28 we're going into number 5. 5, it's red, it's odd. It's in the first dozen, it's between 1 and 18 in the second column, and we're in the TS section of the wheel. It's red, number 5. Confirmation of 5 on your screens, and it's time to respin. Where do we think the ball will land this time? Wheel's a little bit quicker than I'd like it normally, but it is a valid spin nonetheless, providing of course the ball doesn't fly out. Now the ways we can get a no spin are if the ball and wheel go in the same direction, if the ball flies out of the wheel, if of course the ball doesn't go around 3 times, and if I don't spin from directly in line with the number, it could be considered a no spin. That result, by the way, was 23. 23 red and odd in the second dozen, between 19 and 36, second column and TS section of the wheel for red 23. Moving on from 23 to our next result. "37 minutes left on the timer of this first session today. And from 23 we're climbing down the second column into black number 20. 20 is confirmed on your screens, and I can tell you 20 is black and even in the second dozen, between 19 and 36. It's in the second column and it's in the Orphaland section of the wheel. It's black number 20. Moving on from black 20 to our next result. And it's number 14, climbing down the second column once more, and we are red and even for number 14 in the second dozen, between 1 and 18 in the second column and in the Orphaland section of the wheel. So back-to-back Orphalands with the last 2 numbers. It's time to spin from 14 red. And the result, number 19. 19, Alan's favourite number. I'm not sure if Alan's with us at the moment, but 19 is his favourite number. I can tell you it's red and odd in the second dozen, between 19 and 36 in the first column and in the voisin section of the wheel. Red 19. Moving on from red 19 to our next result. Spin roughly every 40 seconds here at the real wheel. And as you can see, this is spin number 17. We've got 3 more slots on the marquee before black 29 gets knocked off the edge. So when 29 gets knocked off the edge, we'll have a fully populated marquee, and the session really is in flow then. Red 21 is your latest number. Let's get 21 confirmed and tell you it's red and odd in the second dozen once more. In the 19s to 36s, those high numbers, it's in the third column, and it's in the voisin section of the wheel. Red 21. Apologies if I sounded slightly startled there. I thought a spider was climbing up my leg then, but it wasn't. I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. You know, sometimes you just think, is that a spider? It wasn't. Bit anticlimactic, that story, wasn't it? Red 14 is your latest result. Red 14 is red and even in the second dozen, between 1 and 18 in the second column and in the Orphanland section of the wheel. Welcome in to Thecosia? I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. I find it really hard to read names. You were close though with 22 in the neighbours, only a few pockets away. Welcome in anyway. If you could type out your name phonetically, I will say welcome properly. (31), a neighbour of 22. Let's get 31 confirmed. It is our 19th result together today, and it's black and odd in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the first column and in the Orphanland section of the wheel. Oh, the choice AAA. Simple when you know how, isn't it? Spinning from 31. Eight in the neighbours, you weren't close, unfortunately. If you'd have stuck with 22 in the neighbours, you would have got it spot on. Black 29, that's about to go off the edge of the marquee, was our first result, and it's being replaced with black number 2. 2 black and even in the first dozen, between 1 and 18 in the second column, and we're in the voisin section of the wheel. Spinning from 2. And we're in 24, 2-4. 24 in the TS section of the wheel. It's black and even in the second dozen, between 19 and 36, and you can find 24 in the third column. It's black, 24. Moving on from 24 to the next number. Very awkward spinning angle then. Got to move furniture around, unfortunately, to do these spins. It wasn't quite moved fully enough. Zero spiel. Very interesting choice. You're the first person I know to actually reference the zero spiel. Unfortunately, we're right the other side of the wheel with 16. Red and even in the second dozen, between 1 and 18 in the first column and in the TS section of the wheel. To anyone who is watching who doesn't know what the zero spiel is, it's 12 red through to 15 black clockwise. If you want to play the zero spiel in a casino, you need 4 chips or multiples thereof. You need to play the 0-3 split, 12-15 split, straight up 26, and then 32-35 split. 4 chip outlay, that means you get, if my maths is correct anyway, a 14 chip profit if any number barring 26 comes in. And you get a 32 chip profit if 26 comes in. Black 35 is the latest number. Let's get 35 confirmed, and it's in the zero spiel. 35 black and odd in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the second column and in the voisin and zero spiel sections of the wheel. You were correct with the zero spiel there. And we are in the zero spiel once more. With red number 12. 12 right on the boundary of the zero spiel. It is red and even in the first dozen, between 1 and 18 in the third column. And it's part of the voisin and zero spiel sections of the wheel. And from the zero spiel, we're going to the Orphelan with red number 1. Red, odd and low for number 1 in the first column, in the first dozen, part of the Orphelan section of the wheel. Apologies for the mic being muted during that spin. I wanted a drink. And you know, it's really bad form to have the mic on air when you have a drink. It sounds awful. And we are now a third of the way through this session. We've still got just under half an hour left together here on this Monday afternoon. Very muggy Monday. And right next door to number 1 is black 33. 33, black and odd in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the third column and in the TS section of the wheel. 18 and neighbours, relatively close I guess with 33, but not quite there. Same half of the wheel at the very least there. And just outside the neighbours of 18 is black 28. 28, black and even in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the first column, and in the voisin section of the wheel is black 28. 28 has disappeared from your screen, so it's time to respin from black 28. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do, you win. Other times it doesn't matter what you do, you lose. The beauty of this wheel is no real money exchanges hands, so you can guess as many times as you like. Right next door to 23 is number 8. 8, black and even in the first dozen, between 1 and 18 in the second column and the TS section of the wheel. It's black, number 8. Confirmation of 8 is still on your screens, but it's time to spin from number 8. You can have as many guesses as you like here at this wheel. As long as we're live, you can guess. Even when we're not live, you can rewind, guess again. But you'll know then, so it'll be right every time. Red number 1 is your latest number. Officially the hottest number, third time out for number 1 in 30 spins. And it's red, odd and low. First column, first dozen for number 1 and in the Orphelan section of the wheel. That's how she's getting a little bit more awful with red number 1. And of course, it is a neighbour of 14. 2 pockets away. Neighbour of 14, 14 and the neighbours I should say, is the larger part of the Orphelan section. You've got 17, 34 and 6 on one side, then 14 and the neighbours on the other side. But we're going into 11 black. 11 black and odd in the first dozen, between 1 and 18 in the second column. And we're in the TS section of the wheel this time. Black 11. Moving on from 11 to our next number. And nice slow wheel this time. Hopefully you're able to see every single number that you like. I'll get out of the shot of the light as well, so the wheel is properly illuminated. And from 11 we're climbing down the second column to black number 2. 2, black and even in the first dozen, between 1 and 18, second column this time, and we're in the voisin section of the wheel. It's black, number 2. Confirmation of 2 has disappeared from your screens, so it's time to respin. Spin roughly every 40 seconds here at the real wheel. And I can tell you, this wheel is now legally old enough to drink and gamble in the USA. 21 years old. Red number 1, hot number. So at just 3 spins ago, and it's out again now. 1, red, odd and low. First column, first dozen, in the Orphelan section of the wheel, red number 1. Spin time from 1. And good luck to the Choice AAA with your guesses for this spin. Last time we were in 8 and the neighbours was with 11. But after a 1, 11 came, so it could happen again. But it's not going to, unfortunately. It's red 18, going from the lowest of the low numbers to the highest of the low numbers. 18, it's red and even in the second dozen between 1 and 18 in the third column, and we're in the voisin section of the wheel. In the voisin but not the zero spiel with red 18. Moving on from 18 to our next number. 2 in the neighbours is what the Choice AAA thinks it's going to be this time. We had 2 a couple of spins ago, and we're in number 2 now. Very, very well done. 2 black and even in the first dozen between 1 and 18 in the second column in the voisin section of the wheel, and the Choice AAA got it on the nose there, so a big well done to you. It's black number 2. Moving on from number 2 to the next number. And from number 2, we're going to the other extreme of the middle column with 35. 35 is your latest result. It is black and odd in the third dozen between 19 and 36 in the second column and in the voisin section of the wheel. So 2 second column numbers in a row, 2 black numbers in a row, and 2 voisin numbers in a row, spinning from 35. Statistically speaking, you should get 1 in every 37 spins on the nose, but you can read spins to a certain degree. 13, first time out for black 13. Let's get 13 confirmed, and I can tell you it's black and odd in the first column between 1 and 18, in the second dozen, and in the TS section of the wheel, black 13. I personally don't like 13. I know a lot of people love 13. It's a bit of a Marmite number, isn't it? You either love it or hate it. 5 in the neighbours this time. $23, edge of 5 in the neighbours, but it is in the neighbours of 5. 23, red and odd, middle dozen between 19 and 36, middle column and in the TS section of the wheel. Red 23. Confirmation of 23 has disappeared, so it is time to go for another spin. We're spinning from 23. Where do we think it's going to be this time? Just to let you know, there's roughly a 4-second delay here at the rear wheel. Try and minimise the delay, but there is still a little bit of a delay. If you'd have gone for 23 in the neighbours, you'd have been spot on the last 2 spins. 5 in the neighbours just outside with red 30, 3-0. Red and even for number 30 in the third dozen between 19 and 36 in the third column and in the TS section of the wheel, red number 30. Moving on from 30. Now, last time I was on air and had new people, they commented on this wire. This is my headset wire because I've not got my microphone properly plugged in. So it's traipsing all over the place. Red 21 is the latest result. 21, red and odd. Second dozen this time in the 19s to 36s. Third column and voisin section of the wheel. Red 21. Time to spin from 21. Time to get our next result. And a couple of pockets away from 21 is red 19. 19, red and odd. Second dozen this time, 19 to 36 of course, in the first column and in the voisin section of the wheel. Back-to-back voisins with 19 and 21. Last time we were in the TR was with 30, and last time we were in the Orphalands. How far back is that now? Red number 1, of course, for the Orphalands. We're thinking 2 in the neighbours this time. 19 just outside 2 of the neighbours. We've gone the other side of 0 with black 35. Joining number 1 as the hot number, 4 times out for both of those, 35 black and odd in the third dozen between 19 and 36 in the second column, and we're in the voisin section of the wheel, black 35. Moving on from 35 to our next number. Red number 5. Climbing all the way down the middle column for red number 5. It's red and odd, of course, in the first dozen between 1 and 18, in the second column, and in the TS section of the wheel. Red number 5. Moving on from 5 to our next number. Where are we going this time? Apologies, that wheel's a little bit quicker than I'd like it. But sometimes, you know, it's nice to mix it up with a faster wheel. Are we going to get 2 in the neighbours, or are we going to fly somewhere else in the wheel? We're in black 29, not a neighbour of 2, still in the middle column though. So black 29, middle column, third dozen, it's black and odd, between 19 and 36, and it's in the Voisin section of the wheel, black 29. Moving on from 29 to our next result, where are we going this time? I can tell you we're in the number of love, 14. Middle column once more for 14, fourth in a row in the middle column. It's in the middle dozen this time, red and even between 1 and 18, and in the Awful Land section of the wheel. So quite a gap between Awful Land numbers, but we're back in there now. And we're going to spin from 14. And from 14 we're moving up one to number 15. 15 is confirmed and it's black and odd in the second dozen between 1 and 18 in the third column, and we're in the Voisin section of the wheel. Black 15. And of course 15, one of the edges of the zero spiel. Let's move on from 15. 16 and the neighbours. This time we've gone 14 and 15, or will we go 16 this time? So off the top of my head, and this is testing my knowledge, neighbours of 15 would be 5, 24, 16 and 33. But we're in number 25. Edge of the Voisin section for number 25, red and odd in the third dozen between 19 and 36 in the first column, and of course in the Voisin section of the wheel. Back-to-back Voisin in the last 2 spins. Also finales of 5. You don't hear many people talking about the finales of 5, or the finales of any number for that matter. But we've had 2 finales back to back. Also had that with 13 and 23, of course, earlier on, and 1 and 11 earlier on as well. So 3 back-to-back finales on your marquee. And from 25, we're going to red number 9. 9, first time out of the week for number 9. In the Awful Land section of the wheel, red and odd in the first dozen between 1 and 18, and in the third column, red number 9. Moving on from 9 to our next number. Healthy mix of red and black at the moment, 55% red to 45% black, I beg your pardon. 63% odd to 36% even. 51% low to 49% high. And 11 is the next result. 11 in the middle column between 19 and 36. No, that's a blatant lie, isn't it? 11 black and odd in the first dozen between 1 and 18 in the middle column, and part of the TS section of the wheel. Just had a brain fart then. Sometimes happens, you start talking about a number and then just go completely off track. As we get to the 2/3 way through this session. And from 11 we're going to 24. 24 black and even in the second dozen between 19 and 36 in the third column, and in the TS section of the wheel. I know what I'm talking about, honestly. I got that one spot on. Moving on from 24. The Choice AAA still believes the zero spiel is due. To be honest, I'm with them. 15 was our last foray into the zero spiel. And would you look at that, we're in the big green 0. Not in any of the outside chances, columns or dozens, but we are in the voisin section of the wheel. It's big green 0. And of course 0 is in the 0 spiel as well. It's in the name, isn't it? Moving on. Thing I don't like about the voisin and 0 spiel, 0 steals the thunder of 26 because they're actually aligned with 26 and not with 0 itself. And from one side of the wheel we go to the other with red number 30, 3-0. And that is the third time out for 30 in the third column, third dozen, red even and high in the TS section of the wheel, red number 30. And let's spin from 30. And as I'm sure you know, and I don't need to teach you to suck eggs as it were, every number of course in the third dozen, third column is in the TS section. Like every number in the middle column, third dozen, is in the voisin. Talking of voisin, we're in there with red number 12, 12 red and even. Between 1 and 18 in the first dozen, in the third column, in the voisin section of the wheel, in the 0 spiel, and it's its third time out. Awful lot to say about number 12. Moving on. Spin number 53, in case you're interested, this one is. And of course, when we get a new result, it drops another number off the edge of the marquee. So number 2 is going to be replaced with this spin. And right next door to 12 is 28. 28 black and even in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the first column and in the voisin section of the wheel, but not in the 0 spiel. Black 28. 6 and the neighbours this time. I can tell you that out of 6 and its neighbours, 17 and 34 haven't come in, 6 hasn't come in, 27 has come in once, and 13 has come in once. It's a very cold section of the wheel. 32 is the next number, 3-2. It's red and even in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the second column, in the voisin section of the wheel, and it is in the 0 spiel. First time out for red 32. Moving on from 32 to our next number. Still nowhere near 6 and the neighbours with double carpet 33. Third time out for 33, and I can tell you it's third dozen, third column, black, odd, and between 19 and 36, and it's in the tiers section of the wheel, right on the edge of the tier for black 33. Six and the neighbours, a very, very cold section of the wheel at the moment. 17, 34 and 6 might actually be the only adjacent numbers, 3 in a row anyway, that haven't been out yet. And from 33 we're going to black number 20. Let me slow the wheel down just a little bit so you can see black 20. As I tell you, it's black, even and high. Second dozen, second column, Orphaland section of the wheel, black number 20. And 20 was the hottest number when we were last on air on Saturday. So 20, a very hot number at the moment. It was the hottest number throughout the whole of July. It was still in the hot 5 in August. And it's been the hottest number on and off when I've been on air in September. 29's the next result. Middle column once more for 29 in the third dozen. It's high and odd, and it's in the second column and Poisson section of the wheel. I think I said second column twice there. Confirm that in the completely different order to normal, and it's just thrown me a little bit. Moving on. So 29 is on its third appearance, joint second hottest. 35 and 1 are your leaders at the moment on 4 spins apiece. I'll tell you the rest after I've confirmed red 27. 27 red and odd in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the third column and in the TS section of the wheel. It's a neighbour of 6, right next door to 6 in fact, with red 27. Moving on from 27. So then we've got a plethora of numbers on 3 spins. We've got 29, 33, 30, 28, 14 and 2, all on 3 spins. So we've got 6 numbers on 3 spins. And we're going into our hot number, red number 1. First column, first dozen for number 1, red, odd and between 1 and 18, and we're in the awful land section of the wheel. Red number 1 confirmed. Moving on from red number 1 to our next number. Hopefully it's going to be a good spin for you. 5 times out for red number 1 in 59 spins, so very, very hot indeed. Averaging just under 1 in 10 spins in red number 1. First time on the marquee in a very long time though for red number 1. And we're going in, out and in again with red 27, my favourite number. Third time out for 27 of the afternoon. I can tell you it's red and odd in the third dozen between 19 and 36 in the third column, and it's in the TS section of the wheel, of course, red 27. Had to think about that one then. Right on the edge of the tier, of course. 27 through to 33 is the tier, and it's 6 chips, 6 split bets if you want to play the tier. It's really difficult to say that today for some reason. Right next door to 27, still a neighbour of 6, is 13. Second time out for 13. And I can tell you it's black and odd in the second dozen, between 1 and 18 in the first column, and in the TR section of the wheel. Just shy of 9 minutes left to go. I'm going to try and get as many spins as possible in the next 9 minutes. Well, the next 8 minutes 40 anyway. $19 red is your next result. Staying in the middle dozen in the first column for 19 red, and I can tell you it's red and odd, between 19 and 36, and in the Voisin section of the wheel. Not in the zero spiel, but it is in the Voisin section for red 19. Moving on from 19 to our next result. You couldn't get closer than 19 for the zero spiel, really. Number 2, heading a little bit further out with number 2. It's black and even in the first dozen, between 1 and 18 in the second column in the Voisin section of the wheel, black number 2. A couple of spins further away from the zero spiel this time, but we are still lingering in the Voisin section. And if you have just tuned in, we are completely live for the next 7 minutes and 11 seconds. Give or take a few seconds either side. Number 9's the next result. 9, red and odd. Third column this time in the first dozen. It's between 1 and 18 and in the Orphaland section of the wheel. On the boundary of the Orphaland, but it is in the Orphaland section, red number 9. Moving on from number 9 to our next result. The Choice AAA thinks 11 and the neighbours this time. Last time we were in the neighbours of 11 was with 13. So not too long ago, actually. We're going into 14, 1-4 in the Orphaland section of the wheel. It's a red and even number, of course, in the second dozen, between 1 and 18, and in the second column. Full time out for number 14, joint second hottest with 35. But it's time to move on to our next number. Moving slightly closer to 11 and the neighbours with double carpet, 33. 33, black and odd. Fourth time out today for 33. I can tell you it's in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the third column and in the TS section of the wheel, all the threes with 33. And it's time to move on to our next number. Still plenty of numbers not been out so far today. After this spin, I shall tell you what numbers haven't been out. But first, let's say welcome back to 28. 28 twice there on your marquee, and I can tell you it's black and even in the third dozen between 19 and 36, in the first column and in the voisin section of the wheel, and right on the cusp of the zero spiel again. Gone from one edge of the zero spiel to the other. 5 minutes left, and the numbers we have yet to see are 4, 6, 7 and 10, 17 and 22, 26, 34 and 36. 35, hot number, is your latest result. 35, black and odd, in the third dozen between 19 and 36, in the second column, in the zero spiel, and in the voisin section of the wheel. A couple of pockets away from 28, black 35. 4.5 minutes left of this session. I shall be back, actually, in about 15 minutes' time, maybe even sooner than that. I'm only going off air for a couple of minutes. Wet my whistle, wash my hands. Because every 40 odd minutes or so when I spin, I like to wash my hands, keep the ball clean. Number of love, 14, back in again. 14, hot number now, along with... Is that a lie? No, 14 is Joint Hoz's number with 35 and 1. 14, red, even and low, in the second dozen, second column, part of the Orphaland section of the wheel. 14. It's always the way, as soon as you stop saying something's going to come in, it will come in. It's just sod's law, that. Right next door to 14 is 31. 31 in the Orphaland section of the wheel. It's black and odd, third dozen this time, between 19 and 36, and in the first column. Black 31, second time out, I do believe, for black 31. Moving on from black 31 to our next number. Where are we going to go this time? I can tell you, we're in 32. 3-2. 32, red and even, third dozen this time, in the 19s to 36s, in the second column, and in the voisin section of the wheel, and of course in the zero spiel, and it's a direct neighbour of zero as well. Plenty to say about red 32. But we've got to move on from 32 to our next number. Only 2.5 minutes or thereabouts left of this session. We're going to get through roughly 75 spins in this first session. Neighbours of 27, I'd be very happy if the Neighbours of 27 came in. It's my favourite number, of course, and a neighbour of 27 is red 34. 34, red and even, in the third dozen, between 19 and 36, in the first column and in the Orphaland section of the wheel, and making its debut after 72 spins. It took 34 to come in, but it's time to move on from 34 to our next result. That means you can cross 34 off the list. We're only waiting for 22, 26 and 36 in the high numbers. We are waiting for 4, 6 and 7, as well as number 10 and 17 in the low numbers. Number 12, warming up a little bit, third time out for number 12. In the third column in the first dozen, red, even and low, and in the voisin section of the wheel, red number 12. Confirmation of 12 is on your screens, but not anymore, which means it's time to spin. $24 on the neighbours this time. It's huge and it's rouge. It's red 36. 36 red, even and high this time, in the third dozen, in the third column, part of the TS section of the wheel, red 36. Confirmation of 36 on your screens. I'm going to call this the penultimate spin, your second to last spin. Where are we going for spin number 75? It's always nice to do it twice. There's nothing sweeter than a repeater. First repeater of the day is red 36. It is, of course, red and even in the third dozen, between 19 and 36 in the third column, and in the TS section of the wheel, it's red 36. This is your final spin of this session, spinning from 36. Now, it's been over a year since I last had 3 in a row. I've done hundreds upon thousands of spins in that time, and I've still not had another 3 in a row. Somewhere on my channel you can see I got 4 in a row in August, I think it was, last year. And I'm not getting 3 in a row this time because your final result of this session is red number 3. 3 red, odd and low in the first dozen in the third column, between 1 and 18 of course in the low numbers, and in the voisin section and 0 spiel sections of the wheel. That's it, we're done. 45 minutes has flown by. Thank you of course to the Choice AAA for joining me today. I shall be back in a little bit for yet more spins. But for now, I hope you have a great afternoon, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Welcome once again to The Real Wheel. My name's still Adam, this is still The Real Wheel Live, and it's time to get our second and final session of the day underway. Spinning from the last number that happened around about 5 minutes ago, we're spinning from number 3. So to get you up to speed with what's been happening so far, we have had predominantly red numbers, 55 plays, 44%. We have had 56% black, even rather, to 42% odd. 54% high to 45% low. 17 Sabotage is our first result together of this session, and I can tell you 17 is making its debut. It's black and odd in the second dozen between 1 and 18 in the second column and in the Orphaland section of the wheel. 17's confirmation has disappeared, so it's time to spin from 17. And that's how we roll here at the Real Wheel. Spin roughly every 45 seconds or so. We get it through about 100 spins an hour here at the Real Wheel. And from 17 we're going to number 30, 3-0. Red and even for number 30, third dozen in the 19s to 36's third column and TS section of the wheel. Red, number 30. Spinning from 30. Where do we think the ball will land this time? Red, black, odd, even, high or low? It's not the green 0 though, it's red, 16. Sweet 16 is our latest result, red and even for number 16 in the second dozen between 1 and 18 in the first column and in the TS section of the wheel. It's number 16 red. Spinning from 16. So roughly 100 spins an hour here at the Real Wheel. We've already been live for 47 minutes. This is spin number 80 and we're still missing 4, 6 and 7, 10, 22 and 26. 12 is the next result. 12, quite a hot number, fourth time out for number 12. I can tell you it's red and even in the first dozen between 1 and 18 in the third column and in the Voisin section of the wheel. It's red, number 12. Confirmation of 12 has disappeared, which means it's time to spin from number 12. Now this wheel is completely live. The time is currently, 58 minutes past 2 here on this Monday afternoon. And we are in black 26. One of the numbers we had yet to see today, it is in now though, and black 26 is black and even in the third dozen between 19 and 36 in the second column and in the Voisin section of the wheel it's black 26. Moving on from 26 to our next result. Where are we going this time? So that means, of course, we can cross 26 off the list, and 22 is our only high number yet to be in. 4, 6, 7 and 10 for the low numbers. Number 3 is the next result. 3, red and odd in the first dozen between 1 and 18 in the third column, and we are in the Voisin section of the wheel, red number 3. Spinning from number 3. And 11 is your next result. 11 black and odd in the first dozen between 1 and 18 in the second column and in the TS section. Unfortunately, I've got a call, a very important call. So I am going to have to go off air for a little bit. So if I don't see you later today, I shall see you tomorrow, same time, same place.